What's up, the world? It's your boy Tommy Mav, and I came to speak about the whole situation with the Los Angeles Lakers. And I want to be clear. A lot of people are happy with how the Lakers are playing. I'm not. I don't think they're a better team than they were by much last year than they are this year. Do I think DeAndre Ayton is an upgrade? Yes. Do I think he's a great defensive center? No. DeAndre Ayton can't cover for all the bad defenders on the court. And this is the problem that I have with the new NBA, right? The new NBA is so hyper-focused on offense that they don't think about how they don't think about plus minus, right? They focus purely on how many points a person scores, right? So there's been a lot of BS that's been perpetrated in the media, starting with Van Gundy saying that Nikola Jokic is the greatest player. I mean, you gotta be retarded. I've heard people put Nikola Jokic in the top 5 basketball IQ. Someone explain to me, if Nikola Jokic is such a basketball savant, why can't he cover anybody on defense? Why is he so exploitable on defense if he's so intelligent? Let me explain to you. He's not. All he does is get the ball in the middle of the field. When a double team comes, you know there's a double team. You know somebody's open. That's all he does. He's not at the top. He's not bringing the ball up, standing at the top of the key and running plays. That's not what Nikola Jokic is doing. He is just a really tall player who's really big, who you can't steal the ball from because he puts his back to you and he can pass with his back to the basket. That's the only thing that makes Nikola Jokic good. He is not some basketball savant. And the reason why he scores so much is because he takes so many shots. It's the same thing when you look at a lot of these newer guys. They focus purely on offense and they play no defense. And I'm sitting there watching, and I've been saying this for months. I'm like, man, the Lakers are going to get destroyed. Every single time they play a good team, they get blown out. Why? Because they can't play any defense. Everybody's coming. Luka has absolutely no basketball IQ whatsoever. The man just doesn't even process things. He comes down, 13 people open, he's over dribbling, taking shots, and everybody is happy because he's making it. Right? Then, which he's not making a majority of them. He generally hovers around the low 50, high 40% in most of his games. He generally shoots below 50%. So he's not really shooting well. But he takes so many shots that people forget, because they forget that he misses 2 shots for every shot he makes. But people focus on the fact that he's making shots, and I focus on the fact that I don't understand why James Harden got the reputation, and almost all his stats were ignored at the time when he started because he wasn't playing any defense. Yet people tend to lose that Luka Doncic plays no defense. The guy is like you might as well put you have more success putting a cone on somebody on defense than putting Luka Doncic on somebody on defense. They were like, well, right now, you watch them play. Well, if I watch them play, my assumption is LeBron is probably not going to be there. I don't think LeBron's going to be there by the end of the year. I don't think LeBron looks happy. I think the way that they play is going to be extremely dangerous. But I don't think LeBron is going to. I don't think LeBron is going to stay there long. If you watch his minutes, I know they're kind of tapering his minutes and this, that, and the third. So maybe that's why I think it. But whatever the reasoning is, LeBron is getting 8 or 9 shots a game. He cannot play like that. You're not gonna. LeBron cannot help your team getting 8 or 9 shots a game, while Luka is shooting 27 and Austin Reeves is shooting 25. I'm sorry. Good luck. Just get LeBron out of there. Let them play, because we all know what the end of this product is going to be. They're not going to win shit. They're not going to beat no team because they can't stop anybody. And when you sit there and you watch it, they got all these players that Luka likes. Knock yourself out. You saw how that worked for the Mavericks, and there's a reason why they traded him. Is because you're not going. They got mad at the Nico guy, but he said the truth. You cannot win without defense, and Luka has no defense. The same reason why Nikola Jokic only win came in that weak year, because he's never going to win any. Outside of that 1 week year where they won the championship, they haven't done well. Why? Because he doesn't play any defense. You cannot play when your greatest player is creates a huge hole on defense, and you don't have people around him that can cover for him. You're going to. It's like having a bucket with a hole in it. No matter how much you try to make sure that your team is scoring, it does not help if you score if they're going down and scoring on the other end. The Lakers are worse. They have LeBron, who is old and can't cover people. They got Austin Reeves, who is a bad defender, who is a little below average defender, and they got Luka, who is a terrible defender. And then you got DeAndre Ayton, who is a lazy defender, meaning he does not cover. He does not go out. He's not going to switch. He's not going to get out to the perimeter and put his hand up like a Dwight Howard or a Anthony Davis. He's going to stay and hover around the basket in your mid-range, and they're going to annihilate you in the mid-range, because he is never going to close out on anybody, and all he's going to do is stand there and wait on somebody to attack the rim. So you went and got DeAndre Ayton, and you got this Laravia kid, who I don't even understand why you got him. Other than you just wanted another white kid who can shoot, and because Rob Pelinka was a white kid who could shoot, so he's just enamored with these white kids who can shoot. That's why he didn't get rid of Dalton Connect, and then you don't get rid of Dalton Connect and then bring in another guy who's similar to Dalton Connect, except less athletic and less of a defensive player. So you brought him in. You don't really have the minutes for him, so I don't know why you brought him in. And even when he does play, you have him playing over people who are way better than him defensively and way better players than he is. Like I said before, yes, Marcus Smart didn't play last night, and I think that's a huge problem with the defense. I think Marcus Smart gives them a little more of an anchor on defense, but he's not great anymore. And he's not going to be able to cover for all those terrible defenders on the court. They're just not a good defensive team. And when you watch them play, I sit there and I watch it, and I'm like, this team looks bad. I hate what I've told you guys this from the time I watched. I cannot stand a player that just chunks up shots. I hate players like that. I cannot stand it. It is the most annoying thing in the world, and I hate watching Luka play. I cannot stand the way he plays. I don't like somebody like that. I don't applaud a person who makes it so other people can't shoot. I mean, I don't think it's a good formula for you to have 28 shots and everybody else got hovering around 10 or 12. Only when you watch them play, if he does well, then Austin Reeves does well. But if he doesn't do well, he will just keep shooting and keep shooting and keep shooting. And you sitting there watching, like, didn't we already see this with James Harden? Do we realize that type of basketball is never going to win you no championship? You're not going to be able to win a championship. Get the ball out of Luka's hand, put it in Austin Reeves, put it in LeBron's hand, let him play off the ball some. He does not make good decisions when he has the ball. He's constantly turning the ball over, constantly dribbling into triple teams, hoping for foul calls, not getting them, and then yelling and not getting back on defense, and then they get easy transition points. Like I said, people sitting up here talking about the Mavs, this matter. I'm not. If I'm the Mavs, I don't care. I mean, if I don't, like I said, if out of all the people, do I think that the Lakers would be better off right now with AD, LeBron, and Austin than they are with LeBron, Luka, and Austin? 100%. They were a better team with AD than they are with Luka. Even with all these random ass additions that I don't think add anything to the team. I mean, I can't understand it. I don't understand, other than they're just listening to Luka, and he's trying to turn the Lakers into the Mavericks, and that's gonna not work. Like I said before, the Lakers are not the town you want to do that. Those Lakers fans are fickle. And the minute a couple years go by and he's out there chunking up a bunch of shots, not winning jack, not playing no defense, and getting blown by like he's standing still, they're going to get tired of it. They're going to say, this guy is not worth what we gave, is not worth the squeeze. He shoots like crazy. And he is not making up for it on the defensive side. And he's causing everybody around him to be out of rhythm because they're rarely getting shots. When he's on the court, nobody shoots but Luka. And I cannot stand that. Nobody shoots for him. He's dribbling down, shooting, dribbling down, shooting, dribbling down, shooting. Three people on him, three people open. He's doing a contested step back, pull back, fade away with three people on it. As if this is the best play we got. When you got a Hall of Famer in LeBron, another rising all-star in Austin Reeves, and a big man who can play in the mid-range and in the block, in DeAndre Ayton, and you think the best option we got is a triple contested fadeaway turnaround shot? It's like the guy is out there trying to prove he's the best player on the court by scoring. Full stop. Why not try to show you the best player by doing other shit? Like, it's not hard to score when you're holding the ball and you have complete autonomy to shoot 1,000 times a game. Quiet as it's kept, when they play great teams, you don't need multiple people to stop Luka, because it does not matter what the rest of the players do. He's not going to pass the ball anyway. He's just going to hold it. And when you watch it, it's no different than James Harden. He plays just like James Harden. There's no difference between him and James Harden. Absolutely none. Except James Harden was more athletic. That's about it. He cannot finish around the rim. He has to shoot contested shots, and you got to hope those contested shots go, because he's not blowing by people and laying the ball up generally. He is stopping, throwing passes. He's a very skilled player. I think he's a very skilled player, but I do not think that he is an upgrade over Harden. I think he is just Harden without the athletic ability. And when you sit in there and you're watching it over and over and over and over and over again, it's like, my gosh, I would rather Austin Reeves get those shots. I'd rather LeBron get those shots. I'd rather DeAndre Ayton get some of those shots. I'm sick and tired of watching this dude do a turnaround fadeaway shot with three people on it. Then turn around, look at the ref every time he missed, while the player who just contested his shot is running full speed for a layup. And they don't take him out. He stays in a bulk of the time, and he's dominating the ball. And you're sitting there watching this play, and you're like, oh my gosh, you're not playing with the Rockets, bro. You got to pass the ball. Sometimes you got to get rid of the ball. You can't just hold the ball for 15 seconds out of the shot clock. And then give it to other people to try to figure out something to do with 6 or 7 seconds left. Yeah, he is Allen Iverson like. Like, bro, just take every all-star off the team. Just give him a bunch of role players that can play defense, and let him just shoot 2,000 times a game. And just take all the other players who actually have offensive game off his team. Because there's no purpose in them being on the team. He doesn't give nobody no the opportunity to score. He's just shooting. And they're going to struggle every time they play a good defensive team who have some offense. The Thunder blew them out. The Suns blew them out. Every time they play a team that has substance to them, that is a good team, they get blown out. Then they'll go blow out a bunch of bottom feeders, and then everybody's talking about how good of a team they are. But no, they don't have a marquee win on the year. They don't beat anybody. But they're out there stat hunting. And the funniest thing is you hear somebody like Kwame Brown talk about LeBron. It's like, LeBron's out there. He going for stats. He's going for stats. I think LeBron has averaged like 12 points on like 8 or 9, like 9 or 10 shots since he got back. LeBron just barely shoots. So I'm trying to figure out how LeBron is somehow stat hunting, but you're not looking at all these other players, right? I'm sitting here watching. I think at this point, when you have garbage like LaRavia coming down and looking off LeBron, when LeBron is wide open and running into the middle of the defense and chunking up terrible shots. When you got Gabe Vincent looking off LeBron and going, then you, as a coach, you completely lost. You completely lost it, right? And everybody keeps saying, well, they're second in the West. Well, they're second in the West because they had an incredibly easy schedule. They're not beating teams of substance. They're beating bottom feeders, and they've had a very, very good schedule so far. But as they play better teams, the Suns are not a top 5 team in the West, and they just annihilated them. But at the end of the year, I don't think the Suns will be a top 5 team in the West. And that's one of the better teams they played this year, and they got annihilated. OKC completely blew them out. And every time you watch these games, they beat bottom feeders, teams that are not that good, who don't have any talent around. They're not beating the plus good teams. They're not beating anybody who is ranked in the top 5. And you watch that game, and you watch last night, and you see exactly why. They don't switch. They cannot switch, because the minute you switch off LeBron, or you switch, or basically, if you switch off LeBron or Gabe Vincent or any of those, or Marcus Smart, you got a favorable matchup. All it takes is one switch. If LeBron fights through the switch, fight through the screen and stays on his man, then they just switch it and pass it to the next person, and they got a favorable matchup against Austin Reeves or Luka Doncic or LaRavia or any of those guys who slow-footed, can't get around anybody, can't stay in front of anybody, can't guard without fouling, and you're sitting there, you watching these teams just give it to them. If they got 2 options, they either back off and put and so the person can't get them, can't get around them, and then the person just steps back and shoots a wide open 3, or they step out and get blown by. So you sit there and you watch this game. It's like, I can see why they're struggling. This is chicken coming home to roost. Everybody knew what was going to happen because they can't play any defense. But nobody's caring because everybody's Aiden's averaging 20 in it. Oh, he's averaging that against bad teams. He cannot guard He's not. The reason why the Suns got rid of him was because he does not like to switch. He does not like to go out. He's not a high effort player. He stands under the goal and protects the rim. He does not switch out. And in this day and age, you have to have a big who can switch out on the perimeter. He cannot. He stays back, and now you got Luka out there on the island. You got Austin Reeves out on the island, and they cannot cover. You got LeBron out there on the island who can no longer cover. So you're out there and you're watching these games, and you're sitting there and you're like, my gosh, these guys are terrible. And even on the games, if you watch, even when they play the bad teams, they're not beating them by 30 points. They're not beating them by 20 points. They're beating them by 7. They're beating by 8. So it's just showing, no matter how much points their wins are like 144 to like 120. They're not a good defensive team. And when you're watching this over and over and over again, and people are forgetting, like, oh, well, LeBron comes back, they're going to mess up the chemistry. I'm thinking, like, what chemistry? They're terrible defensively. He can't cover anybody. But nobody's paying attention to it because everybody's happy because they're scoring. But they're not scoring against good teams. They're scoring against bad ones. So when you're sitting there and you're watching these games, it makes you want to pull your hair out. But it goes back to the mindset of this new age of player. They're given all these accolades based on miss. Luka Doncic is a surprise. No, he's not. He's one of the dumbest players I've seen since Harden. Incredible usage rate. Holds the ball 15, 16 seconds in the clock every time he gets it to get the worst shot possible. And nobody says anything because he makes 1 out of every 3 of them. And you sitting there, you watching the game, and you seeing these players being reduced to standing around watching this guy take bad shot after bad shot after bad shot after bad shot, and you're sitting up here watching it. The fans are not cheering because they are not liking what they're seeing, because they're sitting up there like, well, this dude shooting everything. He shoots everything. That every time the ball touches his hand, he shoots. There's nobody reining him in. Nobody's saying, Luka, you gotta pass the ball. He's just doing whatever he wants because he has the complete confidence of the front office. So at this point, get rid of Austin Reeves, get rid of LeBron, trade them both, get some defensive players, and let Superman get bounced in the Western Conference Final every year with a bunch of defensive players. Where he could possibly maybe get, after a couple years, make it to the finals where he gets blown out in the finals. Because he's not gonna win no championship playing how Luka plays. We've seen this book with Kobe, early Kobe. We've seen this look with James Harden. We've seen this look with multitudes of players who can score but can't play defense and have incredibly high usage rates. It does not work. I have never seen a player who is that focused on offense, who does not have a player around them that can make up for all their inefficiencies, in which it leads to good things. The Lakers had Magic, but Magic was a passer. He got everybody involved. You got the Celtics, who had Larry Bird, who was a great shooter, but he was a passer. He got everybody involved, and he played good defense. So did Magic. Isaiah scored, got everybody involved, played good defense. The Pistons were the best defensive teams. All these dynasties were built on defense. The Bulls, the best defenses. Jordan didn't get people involved, but Pippen did. They had somebody who could distribute, who can play create. And once he play created, you had people. You had a lockdown defense. So it didn't matter that Jordan was shooting up 40 shots a game because the other team wasn't going to be able to match his scoring because their defense was so good. With Ron Harper, Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, and Jordan, it's very hard to score on them. They were fast, long, and athletic. Go to the Warriors. Team basketball, great defense. The Miami Heat, team basketball, great defense. Name a team in the last 20 to 30 years. I mean, let's just even add to that. 40, 50 years. Going back to Bill Russell and Bob Cousy and Wilt Chamberlain when they could never beat the Celtics. Why? Because Wilt Chamberlain can put up a whole bunch of points until he came across Bill Russell. Defense will always outdo offense. It's better to be, I would rather have somebody who can stop someone from scoring than have someone who scores and can't stop anybody from scoring. And the Lakers are there. They're not going to win anything with that team that can't stop anybody from scoring. These people are running by them like they're cones. LeBron cannot make up for that. He's too old. And that he should not be asked to do that at this age. So your only thing that is left, if LeBron at 40-some years old can stand in the block and guard somebody 1v1 without somebody coming over and helping him, why can't Luka do that? Why can't Austin Reeves do that? Why LaRavia is out there? I go back to what Pat Bev said when he was talking about Kawhi Leonard. When they said, "Oh, you can't give that up," and Kawhi Leonard was like, "Why?" He's like, "Because he can't guard him." And Kawhi Leonard said the most obvious, well, why is he on the court? When you say you're watching these players, I don't understand it. Yes, J.J. Redick was a good shooter who couldn't play a lick of defense. So he's going to look past defense and try to focus on offense. But that doesn't make a difference because the offensive players, they're not doing anything offensively. Anybody that you couldn't get a guy who could give you those 10 or 15 points and play defense. You get rid of Dorian Finney-Smith. Why? You're not playing Vanderbilt. Why? Because they can't score. So you got a guy like LaRavia playing extended minutes while Dorian Finney-Smith has now been added to your opposition. He's now on the Rockets. So they got a defensive stopper who can shoot and score and still give you about 12 to 15 points in a series. For a guy like LaRavia, who's going to give you 10 to 12 points and going to give up about 20 on the other end. But he's taking minutes away from guys like Vanderbilt. Why? Why aren't you playing guys who can play defense and you keep playing all these guys who are just shooters? Who cannot, who score by monopolizing the ball, playing dumb offense, and taking difficult shots. Austin Reeves has developed from... Austin Reeves does not pass like he used to. Right? They've morphed him into a pure shooting guard, which I don't know how it helps your team. I guess because they didn't want him to have the ball as much with Luka. I don't really understand it, but it don't make a lot of sense. We don't need Austin Reeves scoring 30 points a game. I don't really understand that mindset where you're trading off usage rate between Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic for 30 minutes at a time, where the only two people shooting are Austin Reeves or Luka Doncic. You have to essentially give LeBron the ball for anybody else to shoot. And you're sitting there, you're watching them. It's like, dude, you're not play creating for anybody. You're not winning. You're not doing anything but shooting a bunch of shots. And they're going back and forth playing. Neither one of them playing a lick of defense, going back and forth, shooting 90 times. Then all of a sudden they come down. They score 2 points. The other team comes down, immediately score 2 points. They score 2 points. They don't stop nobody. They were playing the Utah Jazz and struggling to stop them. They were the worst offensive teams in the league. And they were struggling stopping them. That number 3 was splashing everything. The same way that garbage number 12 for the Suns was killing them last night. This dude getting wide open shots because they can't switch. Because they're slow-footed, can't close out, and if they do close out, people run around them like their feet are nailed to the floor. So you sitting there watching the games like, what in the world are we supposed to? What are we supposed to gather from this? Luka's averaging 30 points a game. How much is he giving up? Look at his plus minus half of the time. He's always in the negative. And you sit there watching, even in the games they win, he's negative too. It's like this dude, they're losing when he's on the court. So that means he's giving up more points than he's scoring when he's on the court in the last couple games. So you sitting there, you watching this game play out. This man is playing incredibly stupid basketball. He's getting a green light to keep doing it, and they're losing games. And they're going to start losing games. And once, because they're not going to beat any team of substance playing how Luka plays. That James Harden, I'm gonna dribble the air out of the ball and then take a contested bad shot is not gonna. James Harden stopped doing it because he realized it wasn't conducive to winning anything. And he was more athletic than Luka is. At least he could make it to the actual rim. Luka can't even make it to the rim. All he does is take a step and try to foul bait and throw the ball up. You watch the ball, it's like, I don't like the way he plays. I cannot stand the way he plays. And I did not like it last year, and I definitely don't. I like it even worse this year because he's even more confident at looking off wide open people and then dribbling into 3 people and throwing up a contested bad shot. Good luck with that. That dude is a cancer. And why did Nico? Nico needs to be fired for trading Luka. Well, he never got Kyrie. Kyrie got hurt. They were actually doing well before. Then Anthony Davis got hurt, which obviously something you have to pay attention to. Why you would? I don't know why anybody would take a flyer on Anthony Davis. If I could have got anybody in that equation, if they ain't show, I mean, you can't get LeBron, but it had to be a better player, more consistent player you could have got for Luka than Anthony Davis. I don't understand that trade. So I guess I agree with them more than Nico. It's who you got for him. I mean, a player that is always injured. I mean, you can't rely on Anthony Davis for nothing. The minute you think your team is going to do good, you can always count on Anthony Davis to have some mysterious injury that keeps him out for 4 or 5 weeks. But and same thing with Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is rarely healthy. He's always hurt. So it wasn't really a smart. I mean, I guess it's kind of dumb in the idea that that no matter how good they look on paper, you're rarely going to get all those players when your two best players are extremely injury prone. Cooper Flag, I've said this before. Cooper Flag is a weird hybrid. He's not really big and he's not really tall. He's a more of his back to the basket type of player than anything else. He doesn't play a lot with the ball in front of him. I don't think putting him at point guard is a smart idea. I don't think he's ever going to look good there. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't really think Cooper Flag player that I can really see being a great point guard. He's not going to be a great point guard. You can't really play him at small forward because he's not that big and he's not a good defender. So it's going to be really hard to try to find a place where Cooper Flagg is going to fit, because I can't really see where he fits within the scheme of how the new game is going. He's not that great of a shooter. He's athletic, but he's not like uber athletic. He's just athletic. And so I just can't see a scenario where he develops into some all-star at point guard. I don't see it. And then if you try to put him at at small forward or power forward, he's not big enough. So it's just one of those things where I think you might be able to play him at the 4, but that's where you already got Anthony Davis. So I don't really understand why you would get Cooper Flagg. And again, against Dallas, they've struggled defensively. They just ended up scoring. Dallas just did not have the same offense, but that was a close game, and the Mavericks are horrible. So the point I keep that I think people are losing sight of is nobody really pays attention to the fact that none of these guys are winning these games in ways, in fashions that I think are conducive to long-term success. I think it's a bunch of me-first basketball. Got role players not getting in rhythm. They have almost nobody on the court. JJ Redick has absolutely no respect for the defensive side of the ball. He does not care about how good players are defensively if he thinks they can give him points. And when you're sitting there and you're watching the game, it's like I'm not gonna sit up here and try to act like it's something because they're second in the West. When they haven't beat anybody of substance. Beat somebody good, and then maybe I'll start to look at it and change my opinion on it. But you guys are struggling against bad teams, and you're getting annihilated by good ones. So I'm not going to sit up here and clap that your schedule has put you in a position to be second in the West right now, because you're not a good team. So we'll see in the long term, because I don't really think it's going to work out for him. Like I said, if I'm LeBron, I don't think this is a good spot for him. I don't think LeBron is going to go anywhere really where he's going to have control, but he definitely is not going to be able to get control on that team with Luka. They think they're going to let Luka do whatever he wants, and Luka is going to. You got two guys, and Rob Pelinka and JJ Redick, who were shooters who couldn't play a lick of defense, and they don't mind that Luka can't play a lick of defense because they're happy because he can score. He makes dumb decisions. He makes bad plays. They don't care, because at the end of the day, they are enamored by the fact that he can score. Good luck with that. Anyway, I'm not tripping. Let me know what y'all think. Let's have a discussion about it. Comment, like if you like it, and subscribe if you're not subscribed. All right, y'all. Peace.